Nós estamos na cidade de Saint Augustine, Santo Agostinho, a cidade mais antiga de todos os Estados Unidos, fundada pelo explorador espanhol Pedro Menéndez Alavés, em agosto de 1565. Óbvio que por isso ela se torna uma das cidades mais importantes sob o ponto de vista da história de todos os Estados Unidos. Desses 50 estados que compõem a Confederação dos Estados Unidos da América do Norte, foi aqui na Flórida que um explorador espanhol chegou no século XVI e fundou esse povoado. Aqui também nós temos 3 datas muito importantes que eu quero destacar. 1565, a fundação. 300 anos depois, 1860, a grande batalha pelos direitos civis americanos. E cá entre nós, dá para dizer que ela foi encabeçada pelo presidente Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln. Por isso aqui tem uma vila muito importante chamada Lincolnville. E depois de 300 anos, depois de 1860, 1863, 1960, porque aqui Martin Luther King, juntamente com Robert Hailing, eles levaram adiante grandes protestos pacíficos, mas grandes protestos pela liberação da escravidão. 1865 ocorre a liberação da escravidão sob o dedo, sob a pena, sob o ato governamental de Abraham Lincoln. E em 1965, 100 anos depois, a população negra, afro-americana ainda estava lutando pelos seus direitos civis, poder votar, poder ser reconhecido como ser humano, poder sentar ao lado de um branco nos restaurantes, poder estudar nas mesmas escolas. Todos esses fatos históricos passam por essa cidade, a cidade de Santo Agostinho, que eu e Lili viemos conhecer e que você tem a oportunidade de conhecer aqui no canal Escritor Judivan Vieira. E só para complementar, esse castelo que você está vendo, óbvio, ele serviu para defender a cidade das constantes tentativas de invasão. Inclusive, foram 8 as tentativas de invasão da cidade. E em 1861, a cidade, a Flórida, o estado da Flórida se uniu aos confederados naquela guerra de secessão, na guerra civil norte-americana. De um lado, os estados do norte, encabeçados pela União, sob a presidência de Abraham Lincoln. De outro lado, os estados do sul, os estados confederados, que não queriam a separação, não queriam a liberação dos escravos. E o estado da Flórida se une aos Estados Confederados. Um ano depois, na verdade 14 meses depois, as forças da União chegam por mar, também por mar, e tomam a cidade. E nunca mais ela vai deixar de pertencer à União. Faz parte da história de Saint Augustine, uma cidade da Flórida belíssima. Realmente a Flórida não são só os parques da Disney, que são maravilhosos. A Flórida tem também o Fusion Festival, lá em Orlando, e tem a cidade de Saint Augustine para visitar, além de Cabo Canaveral, belíssima. Vou deixar você com essa outra vista da cidade. vou abrir esse vídeo pedindo para você se inscrever no meu canal do YouTube, Escritor Judivan Vieira. Aperta o sininho para receber todas as notificações das novidades que vem por aí. E nós estamos aqui no Lightning House, no Beacon, no farol da cidade de Saint Augustine, fundada em 1565 pelo navegador espanhol Fernando Alavés. A cidade mais antiga dos Estados Unidos, muito histórica. Você vai ver muito mais no mini documentário que eu estou produzindo. Aliás, um documentário, porque tem muito material. E você pode assistir no meu canal, o Escritor Judivan Vieira. Estamos aqui, farol de Santo Agostinho, a cidade mais antiga dos Estados Unidos, que a cidade colonial, que até hoje um povoado, nasceu como um povoado e até hoje segue habitado e crescendo cada vez mais. Uma cidade belíssima, histórica, vale a pena a visita. Confere lá no meu canal, Escritor Judivan Vieira, no YouTube.
The document for that is called circumventing stone. Cross marks the landing site. The first thing they did when they got off the ship here is they celebrated the Catholic Mass. They literally built the first Marian shrine in North America here, Our Lady of Malaysia. It's dedicated to pregnant mothers and nursing mothers. It literally means Our Lady of the Milk. So couples will come here that are having troubles having babies. And they'll say, they went on to have 1 baby, 2 babies, 3 babies, 4 babies, 5 babies, 6 babies, 7 babies, 9 babies. That was me and my wife. Be careful what you pray for. You don't always get what you want. No, you don't always get what you want. But if you pray real hard,
not that fountain,
you get what you need.
Step back in time, the oldest storm museum experience. Take a ride on Flightless Railroad to Key West to the Saint Augustine History Museum that locks up at the old jail, and shop for gifts and souvenirs at Peter Bob's Trading Post. One of the best ways for our company to find out how we're doing is to hear from you. It takes just a minute to fill out a comment card, and you'll be able to let me know what you thought about your tour today. Just drop it in the mailbox, and I'll pay the postage.
Oh, you're talking about my younger self? When I was short and I could ride a horse.
Yeah. Welcome aboard. To ensure that your time spent with us is fun, memorable, and safe, we ask that you please remain seated.
Estamos aqui fazendo
Thank you for joining us today. And now, sit back and relax.
em
As
Santo
you take in the
Agostinho,
beautiful and historic
a
sights
cidade
of
mais
the nation's
antiga dos
oldest
Estados Unidos.
city.
bem lindinho.
Lindinha.
Bienvenidos a bordo. Para asegurar que su tiempo con nosotros sea divertido, memorable y seguro, les pedimos que permanezcan sentados.
Lá na frente você pode ver os atores que simulam os presos da antiga cadeia.
Disfrutan de las vistas hermosas e históricas de la ciudad más antigua de la nación.
They got their freedom if they converted to Catholicism and pled their fealty to the King of Spain. If they did that, they were free right here in the Spanish colony of La Florida. Now there is no truly great tour. The French, if they would have landed about 60, 70 miles north of us, they would have landed in Georgia. And they might have had a different experience. Remember, we are a Spanish dolphin. Now if you look to the right, you're going to see the
O cemitério público da cidade de Santo Agostinho.
No, there's no Frenchman in there. This is a later addition to the town in 1821. Notice it is outside the town, outside the city gates, outside the wall, outside. The Protestants don't get the honor of being buried in the population of the town. All Protestants will be buried there. 93 gravestones inside, but don't let Catholics stone. Heck of a deal if you could get it, I suppose. Now, here was the northern wall of our walled-in city to your right, and here, this street here, Cordova Street that we're passing, would not have been here. This would have been another wall, the Rosario line, and that would have been the western wall of our walled-in city. Everything else would have been swampland. To your right, we've rebuilt our fortified reality. That means their salary was $20 a month. And if you ask those folks that raise their hand, they'll tell you teachers today still make about $20 a month. Yep, pretty sure that's true. Yeah. All right, we look to the right. You're going to a Broadway-style theater in it with a scenery loft that can fly the sets over the actors' heads. Now, this ultimately leads me to the first conspiracy theory of the Gilded Age. Why did that place burn to the ground? Now, ladies and gentlemen, Henry Flagler, our town entrepreneur, built a lot of the hotels here. Hey, little buddy. It's Batman, everybody. Look at Batman to your left. All right, now, ladies and gentlemen, Henry Flagler ultimately was staying there during his second honeymoon at the whatsoever. Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Ultimately, the conspiracy theory believes that the owners of the Grand San Marco Hotel ultimately did not want to compete with that 1% of the 1%. Those banking families coming in from New England, ladies and gentlemen. And if you happen to have some time, go on in there, have a meal at the Castillo restaurant, and wander around a little bit. They'll show you all about those, what the amenities would have been that they would have expected during about 1880 to 1910. Now, to the right, you're going to see a whole line of those sable palm trees. More, ladies and gentlemen. All right, now here we are with Potter's Wax. If you're exiting here, you're on the right-hand side only. Going down backwards like a ladder with Potter's Wax. Over 160 made out of coquina. This would have been erected in 1808. The other versions of the city gates were made out of wood, and they got burned to the ground with the rest. These pirates are doing it again. Queen Elizabeth did it at her young age, sending over pirates and privateers to burn us to the ground. 1586, she sent over Sir Francis Drake, to do it. In 1668, in her old age, she did it on the 8th time. She did it. On the Anastasia Island, you will ultimately see the way we get there is from our Bridge of Lions. That's in our view at this point. Now, that Bridge of Lions, ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, was erected in 1927 during the age of into their homes from the courtyard. And then the homes themselves had 2 rooms in them. One of them had the big hearth in it, the big oven. All right, now I heard y'all now. Now, a lot of those places y'all just mentioned don't have a large Cuban population like we got here at Florida. In fact, a lot of those places are trying to sell you guys. If you look to the left, you're going to see Henry Flagler's second grand hotel, the Hotel Alcazar. That's another Victorian hotel right there. Incredible, isn't it?
No Lincolnville, distrito histórico. Olha as casas, como são típicas. Distrito histórico, Lincolnville, aqui em Santa Cristina.
Ahead as well. That's ultimately Franklin Smith's hotel, made out of that Moorish Renaissance style. All right, but here we are at the Alcazar, stop number 10, which is the Otto Leitner Museum of $84,000 spending. 88 grand total for this piece of property. Everybody thought he was nuts. He bought the land between his 2 grand hotels. What do you think? This courtyard, 88 grand. Did he make a good deal or what? If you're exiting, exit on the left-hand side only. And please always remember, to only exit once that trolley bell rings to keep you safe. Their architecture all the time. As you see it at the Villa Zareta, you will so see it at the Casa Monica straight ahead of you as well. All right, now I'm going to tell you about 3 things that are ultimately going to be inside, and this is all an attempt to get you guys to get off and go enjoy this place. Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of those is going to be that piano that Ray Charles played over at that speakeasy over there. Why did we get burned to the ground so much? Because of the Reformation. This has to do with Catholicism versus Protestantism. That's the name of the game. It might have something to do with the fact that we burned down and we killed off the French Huguenots, but, you know, something like that. Anyway, now imagine there's our mouth of our bay. First, about 30 ships came. Administrative offices for the Florida East Coast Rail, Henry Flagler's company, and just behind those buildings is where the depot would have been. It's no longer there, it's been taken down, but ultimately that's where the depot was. Now nowadays, that is Flagler College dormitories right there in those triplet buildings. Now you may be wondering, why in the world did Henry Flagler ultimately get into the hotel, get into the chair? They never experienced that kind of bigotry and hatred before, so when they're going there demanding civil rights, they don't have a clue what kind of hatred is getting ready to come at them. And so it was the Twine's job to teach them. Remember, Dr. King was running around the country at this time, preaching about You're right, and up, and you're going to see what it was. It was Excelsior High School. This was the segregated high school for African-American folks here in St. Johns County. And my folks went to school over there at Saint Augustine.
Other than 9, 7 of them
This is where Dr. King delivered the speech you just heard, and this congregation was
Igreja
very
Católica
important
dos
to those
Negros
synods.
aqui,
And with someone like
Saint
that
Augustine.
passing in 64 was considered a private school. To your left is the corner market. Today, you can get some amazing peach cobbler and some peach relish to die for. Back at that time, it was a speakeasy library for African American folks here in Lincolnville. Ultimately, they weren't allowed to go to the St. Johns County Public Library, so they went there, give a book, take a book kind of situation. To your right, you're going to see the I Have a Dream house. Dr. King ultimately stayed at that house as well. And you can too. Remember, he only stayed one night at a time. That's an Airbnb. Ladies and gentlemen, you should know my name by now. Once again, the name is... Excellent. Going down backwards like a ladder. We're moving. Ladies and gentlemen, their very first surfer in the great state of Florida was a guy named Guy Wolf, and he just happens to be my great-great-grand uncle. Now, ladies and gentlemen, he was a 17-year-old high school student over there at Saint Augustine High School. Made his board out of driftwood and all. Now, this is not a political issue for Saint Augustine and other coastal towns. It may be for some of y'all places, but not here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a practical living issue. We know ocean waters are rising. So with that, we have vowed to continually raise that water. Tour for the kids during the day, and even wonderfuler, tour for the big kids at night. I'm talking about a rum runner tour, ladies and gentlemen. That's right, you go drinking with the pirates if you're of age. How about that? All right, trivia style, I told you this bay, which is now known as Massacre Bay. With that, for every veterans on board, any veterans on board? No, really? All right. Okay, so if I have no veterans, I probably have nobody that served in the State National Guard either. But this is the State National Guard for the state of Florida. Now, the way it works for National Guards, ladies and gentlemen, ultimately, is usually it's going to be in the capital city of the state they're in. Now, don't forget, we were the first capital of the state of Florida when we were founded in 1845. The first governor did stay down there at the governor's house right there on the plaza, right? So with that, we were the first capital. But we have since moved that over to Tallahassee. We kept the Florida National Guard right here in St. Augustine because no other city in the state has done more to fortify and protect and ultimately be attacked for the state than we have. We were attacked, remember, 8 times by Queen Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen, the Protestant Queen. She wanted to avenge the deaths of those French Huguenots we killed off. And she did. Brought it outside into the sun for about 4 years, and it's going to harden and become a masonry-like material that you can actually build out of. So what did we ultimately build out of it? Well, we did the city gates, I told you we did, right? The Castillo de San Marco, we did that. The oldest house, we just left them, that's made out of it. The seawall is made out of it, and the very first lighthouse was made out of it as well. Now, before I tell you what happened to the lighthouse, but one important feature to know about coquina. It is a porous material, just like you are a porous material. Water can get in, water can get out.
Nós estamos explorando a cidade de Saint Augustine à noite. Que espetáculo, as luzes de Natal, especialmente. Não é sempre assim, não. Aqui é um chamariz turístico mesmo. Ó, olha aqui, ó. A época do Natal. A cidade se enfeita toda. Por 2 razões. A primeira já é cultural. O povo gosta. Né? O norte-americano ele tem isso. Nas festividades especiais do país, nos grandes feriados, ele decorar as casas, as ruas, etc. Então dá para você perceber esse espírito festivo. E segundo, também pelo apelo turístico, por óbvio. Uma coisa unida à outra. Acaba sendo muito agradável a todos. Ó, um bairro residencial aqui, mas já no centro da cidade também, downtown. Essa cidade fundada em 1565, a cidade mais antiga de todos os Estados Unidos. Há registros de desembarque de exploradores em 1615. Na Nova Inglaterra, na Louisiana, mas aqui é definitivamente a cidade mais antiga, segundo os registros históricos.
Jingle bell, Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring.
Restaurante do Castelo de Saint Augustine. Não é o nome, né? É um castelo fundado para guarnecer a cidade, que foi a primeira capital do estado da Flórida, mas foi atacada 8 vezes e mudaram a capital para Jackson. E aqui agora ele que desceu vai subir.
Jingle bell time is a swell time to go gliding in the one
Entender
horse
como
sleigh. Giddy up, jingle
há pessoas que não gostam do Natal, mas a gente que não gosta de viver também, né?
jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell
A gente
rock.
se
Jingle
amarra.
bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing up bushels of
Não vou nem
fun.
dizer no mês de dezembro,
Now the jingle
novembro,
hop
as cidades, a cidade está
has begun.
toda
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell
no
rock.
Natal.
Jingle bells time and jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air. What a bright time. It's the right time to rock the night
Cidade
away.
movimenta.
Jingle bell time is a swell time to go gliding in the one
Aqui, ó.
horse sleigh.
During the holidays, what should you wash your hands with?
Oh, this was the
Sanitizer.
Mas o espírito natalino está dominando a cidade, sempre assim, todos os anos assim, informam os guias turísticos, as pessoas que conhecem aqui. A cidade vira um espetáculo natalino, ó. Ali é o barco, histórias turísticas, assim, a cidade terrível, do Natal. Definitivamente, nós já estivemos em Atenas, na Grécia, na ilha de Creta, onde o espetáculo natalino sobretudo em Atenas. Mas aqui em Saint Augustine, ou Saint Augustine, na Flórida, primeira capital da Flórida, o espetáculo, o espírito natalino é admirável. É um show de luzes, é um show de bom gosto, é algo muito típico dos Estados Unidos. Uma nação com uma mentalidade grande. Literalmente espetacular, o que difere dos outros países, difere da Europa, difere da América, da Ásia, da América Central, da Ásia. As coisas são pequenas e mal feitas. Aqui elas são grandes e bem feitas. Isso merece um estudo sociológico aprofundado. Não dá tempo neste vídeo, mas eu venho fazendo. Eu venho destilando fragmentos desse desse meu pensamento em vários dos meus livros, nas minhas palestras. É o pensar grande que torna uma nação grande. Por isso, os Estados Unidos da América do Norte são o que são. Todo socialista, todo comunista critica, mas vive às custas do capitalismo e eles queriam ser assim. Tanto que quando eles são perseguidos ou exilados de qualquer país, eles vão viver em países capitalistas, nunca em Cuba, Venezuela, União Soviética, etc. Tá aqui, ó, Saint Augustine, primeira capital da Flórida, e uma cidade turística, a primeira cidade, o primeiro núcleo populacional habitado de todos os Estados Unidos e a cidade mais antiga do país. Lindíssima. Última noite.